Hey guys, Avi here from musicalengineering.net, and today I want to talk about arranging. Last week we were talking about composing and why it's a really good idea to compose directly into your DAW, but today I want to talk about the next step after you compose something. And while you're composing, or after you're composing, depending on your personal creative process, you are going to be arranging your song. So up here, we have the same little progression that we made last week for to play around with. Now what I'm going to do is we have a nice little contained unit here. So I'm going to bring my mouse to the bottom corner here, the bottom right corner, which gives me um, that little slider looking guy, and I can slide that to 7. Now why I'm going to do that is I'm going to loop this, and we're going to play around with certain elements and composing certain elements above it to add different textures, different instruments. We're going to explore some more of the virtual instruments that Logic Pro has to offer, and we're going to see how those sounds kind of coalesce. And we're also going to be making sure that we're creating parts that sound natural for the instruments that we're composing for, because it's really easy to not do that. And say if you're in a cello part and you're composing way up in a violin range. Yeah, cellos can go pretty high, but they can't go as high as a violin. So if you're composing for a cello in the high range of a violin, something's gonna sound off. So let's just listen to our composition here, and then I'll show you how to loop it, and then we'll just dive right in, okay? Awesome. So now that's in our ears. So if you want to loop something like this, just to get a cool idea, there are two ways you can loop something in Logic Pro X. This little bar up here, you can see it's grayed out right now. If you click on it when you have the little handle, it's called a cycle range. Click. Now it's yellow. So let's move that out to 7 right here to where it ends. And now this will loop over and over again. I'll show you. So this can be really great for editing if you're EQing a certain part of a song and you want to hear the entire song and hear your different changes throughout that main point. Maybe it's the loudest part of your song that you're trying to EQ, or the most layered part. You want everything to pop out and have nice separation. You can use that cycle range. What we want to do today, however, is we want to physically loop this entire region. So what you do is you just bring your mouse into the upper right corner, and this little loop sign with a line comes in, and if you just click and drag, you can see how it loops however long it is. Every time you see one of those indentations in the top and bottom, that's another loop starting. So let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4 loops for now. And we're going to play around with a couple of other instruments here. And what's cool about Logic Pro is if you know you want a voice to be similar or sitting within a similar range of at least in this case our string section, you can actually take the MIDI and copy it, and then see if you like the doubled sound, then add a harmony at a different place where that line can go, and you really just have so much freedom to work with. So let's decide what we want to put in next. Let's stick with orchestral for now, for sure. So we have strings already. Why don't we get some woodwinds in there? Clarinets. Right now, we have a contained section. That sounds good, so maybe towards the end of this section, we'll have the clarinets kind of come in. Their phrase can lead into the next phrase. So let's see how something like that can sound. We're going to create our new MIDI region by right-clicking and clicking Create Empty MIDI Region. And we'll just bring that out to there for now. So let's look at this chord. If you drag and highlight both of these, you'll be able to see all the chords that are present. So now that we're in here, we can see that we have a C, an E, another C, and another C. That is a very tonic-driven chord. So we don't have a G yet, so we can have the clarinet be on the G over here. So let's start at number 5. So let's hear how that sounds with the texturally. It's a little loud, isn't it? The velocity here, it's kind of like an attack. It basically controls how hard the note is being played virtually. 120. See how it's red now? That means it's the most possible. See how there's a little bit more distortion? You can hear like the fake wood rattle, I suppose. Now if we go a little bit softer, this is about half the velocity that we had before, and that's going to sound a little bit nicer. It sounds a little bit more musical too. It also sounds a little bit more real. And part of the things that can... One of the tells of a fake instrument is the velocities all being either exactly the same or right around the same. And especially in classical music, dynamic range is massive. And we've talked about dynamic range before, so I don't need to explain that again. So let's unsolo this and hear what this sounds like now with a more musical kind of sound. That was pretty. Couldn't hear it very well, so let's take the strings down a little bit and hear it one more time. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. However, I don't like the clarinet alone by itself in the piano roll. When composing, I want to see more, so I shift-click. And now I can see all of the instruments that we're working with in piano roll, so I can see the relationships between all of these notes as I'm composing. That blue represents the clarinet. So what I want for the clarinet, we already have this. So in this F, we're going through the 7th of this G here, making that G Dom 7 and resolving downwards to an E, which sounds beautiful. But what we want is something to resolve to the G. So we don't want to put the F up there because that's kind of pushing up into an outer voice, but we don't want to double the 7th or the 5th really. So instead, we could have something going from a B going down to the G. So we could do a B, A, G. So let's see how that sounds in the clarinet part here. So just going on from 4, B, A, G, okay? Do you hear how the quality changed? I'm just going to take these velocities down. I want this to be very slight in the beginning, very subtle. Subtlety is the key to musicality, I find, but that's just kind of that's my personal thing. You hear how different that sounds when you have a slightly different vocal, a slightly different line come in with a different kind of texture. It changes the overall timbre of the entire sound. Let's hear the difference with it and without it. So this is without first. That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. And we'll hear it with there. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. I don't want to do too much more and confuse you or anything, so we're just going to stop there for now. There's a whole lot more we can do. I'm going to continue with this. I might do some more stuff with it, maybe add another line there just for more examples a little later on. Maybe we'll do some advanced editing, advanced composing type of stuff. Leave some comments below. Subscribe. Please subscribe. And join the mailing list if you're interested in getting this stuff delivered directly to your inbox. Have a great day. Cheers from Avi at musicalengineering.net. Yeah.